Okay, so this is part 2 of day 2, and I got cut off, but we had identified our topic. We'd figured out what the controversy was. We had written down our 2 viewpoints, our paired viewpoints. They were next to each other in the list. And then I went through the article and I tried to find 3 pieces of evidence in my first article, and I can open my second article and find 3 pieces there. So when I say my second article, I'm going back to my featured viewpoints, and there would be my second article, my paired viewpoint that I would want to open and skim through this article to see if I could find some reasons. And once again, I can use my article heading or my section headings to help me figure out what some of those readings might be. So at this point, I have finished 1 controversy. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do another controversy. Okay, this is controversy number 2. So I can find the second controversy in a couple different ways. The easiest way to find your second controversy is to go to the featured viewpoints and just find the next pair. Because remember, in featured viewpoints, the pairs are always going to be next to each other. So I can do junk food in schools does not contribute to obesity, or junk food in schools does contribute to obesity. That pair is super obvious. If you don't like those viewpoints, you can also find pairs in the general viewpoint section. So if I click on that, and the first viewpoint I see is the idea that you shouldn't market unhealthy food to children. So it says unhealthy food should not be marketed to children. But the paired viewpoint, the viewpoint that goes with that, isn't right underneath it. So in order to find the paired viewpoint, I'm going to have to come down here where it's got the magnifying glass, and I'm going to type the word market in, and I'm going to see if I can find, now my paired viewpoints are next to each other. So unhealthy food should not be marketed to children, and food marketing to children should not be restricted. So those are the 2 viewpoints that go together. They're arguing the opposite thing. So on my paper, you'll see that I have written unhealthy food should not be marketed to kids and food marketing to kids should be restricted. And I've gone through that same process. I do want to point out that sometimes you might identify a controversy and you might find an article pair, but then you might start looking for these pieces of evidence or these reasons. And you're like, I don't really understand this argument. I don't know where they're getting the evidence from. I don't know what evidence is available. I cannot do this. If you run into that situation, awesome. You know that that's a controversy you want to stay away from. So if you can't find 3 pieces of evidence, great. Don't stress. Move on and try a different one. And you'll know at the end of the period that you should not pick that for one of your final controversy that you're going to focus on. So our goal for today is to begin by going to, you're going to begin by writing your topic. So mine was junk food in the middle. And then you're going to start looking for these controversies, controversy 1, controversy 2, controversy 3. You're going to be able to find these controversies by looking in the featured viewpoints section. Okay. So then you're going to fill out the oval. Tell me what the issue is. Don't give me a side, but tell me what the issue is. And then for A and B, you're going to give me 1/2 of the viewpoint pair and then the other half of the viewpoint pair. And remember, if you're in featured viewpoints, the 2 pairs, the 2 halves of the pair will be right next to each other. If you want to go into just plain viewpoints, you're going to have to search a little bit to find the pair. And then for each pair, you're going to try and find 3 pieces of evidence. If you get super stuck and you can't find these 3 pieces of evidence, don't worry about it. Move on to a new controversy. Okay? At the end of the period, your goal is to take one of these 3 controversies, so 1, 2, or 3, and put a star next to the one you want to focus on. Okay, so put a star next to it on your organizer. And that's it.